Giuliana Rossi had perfected the art of appearing unimpressed. It was a survival skill in her line of work, where wealthy men expected admiration simply for existing. As the event coordinator for Dante's, Manhattan's most exclusive private club, she'd learned that raised eyebrows and dry commentary kept entitled members at arm's length better than any wedding ring. Tonight's charity gala was running smoothly. Too smoothly. Which meant something would inevitably go wrong. "Juliana, darling." Brett Cunningham materialized at her elbow, martini in hand, cologne suffocating. "You look stunning. That dress is criminal." She glanced down at her black sheath dress. Professional, modest, boring by design. "It's from Target, Brett. Try to contain yourself." Playing hard to get again. He leaned closer, whiskey-soaked breath making her stomach turn. "I like that about you." "I'm not playing anything. I'm working." She stepped sideways, scanning the ballroom. 200 guests, open bar, silent auction closing in 20 minutes. The Catalano family had reserved the entire north wing, which meant extra security and zero tolerance for problems. The Catalano family. As in Dante Catalano, whose name was on the building and whose reputation preceded him like a storm warning. She'd coordinated events here for 3 years without meeting him directly. He had people for that. People like Vincent, his stone-faced manager who communicated primarily in grunts and disapproving stares. "Come on, baby." Brett's hand landed on her lower back. "One drink after this wraps up. You've been turning me down for months." Giuliana stopped walking, turned slowly, let the silence stretch until Brett's confident smile faltered. "First, I'm not your baby. I'm not anyone's baby. I'm a 29-year-old woman with a graduate degree and a low tolerance for presumption." She removed his hand from her back with 2 fingers, like disposing of something unpleasant. "Second, I've been turning you down because no is a complete sentence. Third, your wife is standing near the bar looking for you." Brett's face reddened. "We're separated. You're wearing a wedding ring. It's complicated." "It's really not." She spotted one of the catering staff gesturing frantically from the kitchen entrance. "Excuse me. Some of us have actual work to do." She crossed the ballroom in quick strides, heels clicking against marble. The noise level had risen, champagne flowing freely, the auction generating the competitive energy that made these events profitable. Everything looked perfect, which was exactly when things went wrong. "Miss Rossi." Antonio, the head caterer, looked panicked. "We have a problem. The dessert course. The chocolate supplier delivered dark instead of milk chocolate. Mr. Catalano specifically requested milk chocolate tortes." Giuliana's mind raced. "How specifically?" Vincent said, and I quote, "Mr. Catalano wants milk chocolate. Not dark, not white. Milk. His mother has dietary restrictions, and this is her favorite." Of course. The one detail that mattered involved family. "How long to remake them?" 2 hours minimum. The dinner service was scheduled to start in 45 minutes. She pulled out her phone, fingers flying across the screen. "There's a French bakery in Brooklyn. They do custom work. I've used them before for emergencies. They'll never make it in time. They will if I promise them double rate and future contracts." She was already dialing. "Get me Vincent. I need approval for the expense." Antonio disappeared. Giuliana stepped into the service hallway, phone pressed to her ear. The bakery owner answered on the 3rd ring. She explained the situation in rapid-fire English peppered with the Italian phrases her grandmother had taught her. Money talked. Promises of future business talked louder. 1 hour, the owner finally agreed. "But this is the last time, Giuliana. You're going to give me a heart attack." "You love me, Jean-Pierre. Admit it." "I love your ability to pay invoices on time. There's a difference." She ended the call and nearly collided with a wall, except walls didn't wear custom suits or smell like cedar, and something darker. Walls didn't have eyes the color of espresso that tracked her movement with predatory focus. Dante Catalano was taller than she'd expected, broader. The photos in society pages didn't capture the controlled violence in the way he stood, perfectly still, but somehow coiled. His dark hair was styled with careless precision, the kind that probably cost more than her rent. A thin scar cut through his left eyebrow, the only imperfection in otherwise severe features. He was absolutely the most dangerous-looking man she'd ever seen. Mr. Catalano. She recovered quickly, extending her hand. Giuliana Rossi. I coordinate events here. I apologize for the dessert situation. It's being handled. His hand engulfed hers. Warm, calloused in unexpected places. He didn't shake so much as hold, thumb brushing across her knuckles in a way that felt deliberate. You speak Italian. His voice was low, textured, not a question. My grandmother insisted. She said Americans forget where they come from. Smart woman. He still hadn't released her hand. The dessert situation. Vincent said you fixed it. I'm in the process of fixing it. A bakery in Brooklyn is making fresh tortes. They'll arrive before dinner service. At what cost? Double their normal rate, plus a promise of future contracts. She gently extracted her hand, ignoring the way her pulse had accelerated. It's within the discretionary budget for emergencies. Something shifted in his expression. Not quite a smile. You consider my mother's dietary restrictions an emergency? I consider any detail that matters to a client an emergency. Your mother's comfort matters. Therefore, emergency. This time he definitely almost smiled. Vincent said you were efficient. Vincent communicates in grunts. I'm surprised he said anything. He said you were efficient, stubborn, and had a smart mouth. Dante's eyes tracked her face like he was memorizing details. He didn't mention beautiful. Giuliana had been hit on by enough wealthy men to recognize the approach. This felt different, more direct, like he was stating a fact rather than offering a compliment. Vincent focuses on job performance, as do I. She stepped back, creating professional distance. If you'll excuse me, I need to check on the auction closing. Giuliana. The way he said her name, rolling the syllables, made it sound intimate. That man, earlier, the drunk one who put his hands on you. Her stomach dropped. You saw that. I see everything that happens in my club. He adjusted his cufflinks, the movement casual. His name is Brett Cunningham, hedge fund manager, married, 3 complaints from female staff about inappropriate behavior. I handled it. You did. His eyes locked on hers. But he called you baby. I don't like that. The possessiveness in his tone sent warning signals through her nervous system. With respect, what he calls me isn't your concern. Everything that happens here is my concern. He moved closer, eliminating the distance she'd created. Not touching, but close enough that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. And you are definitely my concern. I work for you. That's the extent of our relationship. For now. The 2 words hung between them, loaded with implication. Giuliana's professional instincts screamed at her to deflect, redirect, establish boundaries. But something else, something she refused to examine too closely, made her hold his gaze. Mr. Catalano? Dante. Mr. Catalano, she repeated firmly. I'm very good at my job. I'd like to keep it, which means maintaining professional boundaries with my employer. I respect boundaries. His hand came up, not touching her but close enough that she felt the heat. When they're real. But you're curious. I'm cautious. Same thing sometimes. He stepped back, giving her space. Go. Check your auction. Make sure my mother gets her tort. We'll continue this conversation later. There's nothing to continue. Liar. He said it without heat, almost affectionately. You're good at your job, Giuliana, but you're a terrible liar. Your pulse is racing. I can see it. His eyes dropped to her throat. Right there. She resisted the urge to cover her neck. Arrogance is not attractive. No. This time he definitely smiled, and it transformed his entire face. But honesty is, go, before Vincent finds you and starts grunting about schedules. Juliana walked away with measured steps, refusing to hurry despite every instinct screaming at her to run. She could feel Dante's eyes on her back, tracking her movement through the crowd. The auction closed successfully. The bakery delivered the torts with 10 minutes to spare. Dinner service proceeded without incident. She should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt hunted. Brett Cunningham approached her twice more during the evening. Both times, he barely got a word out before Vincent materialized, stone-faced and imposing, suggesting Mr. Cunningham return to his table. The second time, Brett left the gala entirely, muttering about hostile environments. Juliana didn't believe in coincidences. At 11:30, as guests began departing, she supervised the cleanup crew. The event had been flawless. Her feet ached, her face hurt from professional smiling, and she wanted nothing more than to go home, pour wine, and pretend her entire world hadn't tilted on its axis. Miss Rossi. Vincent appeared beside her, silent as always. Mr. Catalano requests your presence in his office. Her heart stuttered. Now? Now. Is there a problem with the event? Vincent's expression didn't change. He didn't say. He just said to bring you up. Juliana followed him through the club's elegant hallways, past the public spaces into the private areas she'd never accessed. Everything was darker here, richer. The art on the walls was museum quality. The carpet absorbed sound. Vincent stopped at a set of double doors, knocked once, opened them without waiting for a response. Dante's office was exactly what she'd expected. Massive desk, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan, leather furniture that probably cost more than her car. What she hadn't expected was the warmth. Books everywhere, photos on the desk, a child's drawing framed on the wall. Dante stood at the windows, hands in his pockets, silhouetted against the city lights. Thank you, Vincent. He didn't turn around. Close the door. The door clicked shut. They were alone. Juliana stayed near the entrance, maintaining distance. You wanted to see me? Brett Cunningham won't be returning to the club. Dante turned, his face half-shadowed. His membership has been revoked. That's not necessary. I told you. I handled it. You shouldn't have to handle it. He moved toward her with that same controlled grace. Men who don't understand no, don't get second chances here. I appreciate the gesture, but I don't need protecting. I know. He stopped an arm's length away. You're perfectly capable, smart, quick-thinking, good under pressure. Vincent says you've never had a failed event. Then why am I here? Because I wanted to see you. Simple, direct. Without 200 people watching. Her breath caught despite herself. Mr. Catalano. He called you baby. Dante's voice dropped, something dark threading through it. I didn't like it. You mentioned that. Because you're not his baby. He took another step. You're not anyone's baby. You made that very clear to him. I respect that. Good. But if you were, he continued, eyes locked on hers, if you were anyone's, you'd be mine. The possessiveness should have annoyed her, should have triggered every independent instinct. Instead, heat flooded through her, dangerous and unwelcome. That's incredibly presumptuous. Yes. No apology in his tone. But you're still here. You could have left, made an excuse. You didn't. He was right. She hated that he was right. This is a bad idea, she said finally. You're my employer. I need this job. Your job is secure regardless. He reached out slowly, giving her time to move away. When she didn't, his fingers brushed her jaw. But I don't mix business with pleasure. If we do this, you'll work somewhere else, somewhere better. More money, more freedom. I don't want to be bought. I'm not buying you. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I'm removing obstacles. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. He leaned closer, his breath warm against her temple. Because you want this too. You're just too smart to admit it yet. Juliana's phone buzzed. She stepped back, grateful for the interruption. A text from the catering company about tomorrow's event. She typed a quick response, using the moment to gather her thoughts. When she looked up, Dante was smiling, that same almost smile that made him look younger, less dangerous. Go home, Juliana. He returned to his desk, the moment broken. Think about what I said. We'll talk again soon. There's nothing to think about. Liar. He sat down, already reaching for paperwork, dismissing her. Lock the door on your way out. She left, heart pounding, mind racing. The hallway felt longer on the way back, colder. Vincent waited by the elevator. He pressed the button without speaking, but something in his expression had changed. Not quite approval, more like resignation. He's not a normal man, Miss Rossi. Vincent's voice was gravel rough. If you're smart, you'll run. The elevator doors opened. Juliana stepped inside. And if I'm not smart? Vincent's almost smile matched Dante's. Then God help you both. The doors closed, and Juliana caught her reflection in the polished metal. Flushed cheeks, bright eyes. The look of a woman who'd just been claimed without permission. The terrifying part was how much she'd liked it. Juliana didn't run. She also didn't return to Dante's office, which felt like a reasonable compromise between stupidity and cowardice. For 3 days, she coordinated events with her usual efficiency. A corporate luncheon, a private anniversary dinner, a book launch that ran 2 hours over schedule because the author got drunk and started reading unpublished material. She handled everything without seeing Dante once, which didn't mean he wasn't there. Fresh coffee appeared on her desk every morning. Her preferred order from the cafe 3 blocks away, still hot. No note. No explanation. The temperamental espresso machine in the staff break room was replaced with a top-of-the-line model. Vincent claimed it was scheduled maintenance. Juliana knew better. And then there was the flowers incident. She arrived at work Thursday morning to find her office transformed into a garden. Roses covered every surface. Red, white, pink. The scent was overwhelming. Vincent stood in the doorway, stone-faced as ever. "What is this?" Juliana demanded. "Mr. Catalano saw you looking at the flower arrangements yesterday. He assumed you liked roses. I was checking the centerpieces for tonight's event. It's my job." She gestured at the explosion of blooms. "This is insane. Would you like me to remove them?" "Yes. No. I don't know." She pinched the bridge of her nose. "Where is he?" "Miami. Business. He returns tonight." Of course he was in Miami, doing whatever mysterious things Mafia bosses did in Miami. She didn't want to know. Knowing made things complicated. "Remove half of them," she said finally. "Donate them to the hospital down the street. Keep enough that it doesn't look like an insult." Vincent's expression might have been approval. Hard to tell. "I'll handle it." He left. Juliana sank into her chair, surrounded by roses, and admitted the truth she'd been avoiding for 3 days. She was in serious trouble. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered automatically, mind still on the flower situation. "Juliana." Dante's voice poured through the line like expensive whiskey. "Vincent said you liked the roses." "Vincent has a strange definition of liked. I said they were excessive." "Same thing." She could hear the smile in his voice. "You kept some. Because throwing them all out would be wasteful. Keep lying to yourself, Bella. It's entertaining." The endearment slid under her defenses. Did you call just to gloat? I called because I'm in Miami, surrounded by very boring men discussing very boring business, and I'd rather talk to you. Background noise filtered through. Voices, traffic. Tell me about your day. That's not appropriate. Probably not. Tell me anyway. Juliana stood, pacing between roses. Why are you doing this? Doing what? The coffee, the flowers, the phone calls. I told you this was a bad idea. You told me you needed to think about it. I'm giving you things to think about. His tone shifted, became more serious. Has anyone bothered you? Any more Bretts? No. Word seems to have spread that I'm off limits. Good. It's not good. It's possessive and presumptuous, and I didn't agree to any of this. You're still talking to me. He paused. You could hang up. You haven't. She should. She absolutely should. I'm being polite. His laugh was low, genuine. You're many things, Juliana. Polite is not high on the list. You have opinions and you share them. I like that about you. You like that I argue with you? I like that you're not afraid of me. The background noise faded, like he'd moved somewhere quieter. Most people are afraid of me. You looked me in the eye and called me presumptuous. You are presumptuous. Yes, but I'm also patient, and I know what I want. Her pulse jumped. Which is? You. In my life. In my bed. Wearing my ring eventually, if we're being honest about intentions. The casual way he said it stole her breath. You don't even know me. I know you're smart, quick thinking, loyal to the people you care about. Your grandmother taught you Italian and you still visit her every Sunday. You have a degree in hospitality management from Cornell. You're allergic to shellfish. You read romance novels on your lunch break and think no one notices. Juliana stopped pacing. How do you know all that? I pay attention. No apology. I've been paying attention to you for 6 months, Juliana. Since the night you told a senator's son that his father's money didn't impress you, and he should try developing a personality. 6 months. He'd been watching her for 6 months. That's stalking. That's interest. There's a difference. Someone spoke in the background. Dante's voice turned sharp. I'm busy. Handle it. Then, softer. Back to her. I have to go. Dinner tomorrow night. You and me. Somewhere quiet where we can actually talk. I didn't agree to dinner. You will. Think about it. I'll call you tonight. He ended the call before she could argue. Juliana stared at her phone, heart racing, mind spinning. 6 months. She should be angry, concerned. Instead, she felt something dangerously close to flattered. Vincent appeared in her doorway again. The roses are being removed. Also, Mr. Catalano wanted me to give you this. He held out an envelope. Inside was a key card. Heavy, embossed with the club's logo. The kind given only to VIP members and family. What is this? Access to the private floors. Mr. Catalano said you should have freedom of movement in the building. For work purposes. I've never needed access before. Vincent's expression was carefully neutral. You do now. He left before she could ask what that meant. The rest of the day passed in a blur of preparations for the evening's event. A rehearsal dinner for a society wedding. 50 guests, open bar, specific seating arrangements that changed 3 times because the bride's mother kept feuding with various relatives. Juliana handled it with practiced ease, her mind only occasionally drifting to Miami, and dangerous men who paid attention for 6 months before making their move. At 7:30, she was checking the table settings when her phone buzzed. Dante. How's the rehearsal dinner? She shouldn't respond. Responding encouraged him. Juliana. The bride's mother just tried to rearrange the seating for the 4th time. I'm considering homicide. Dante. Need help hiding the body? Despite herself, she smiled. Juliana. I can handle my own homicides, thanks. Dante. I know. It's one of your more attractive qualities. Juliana. You have a strange definition of attractive. Dante. I have excellent taste. You'll understand when you stop fighting this. She slipped the phone back in her pocket without responding. The dinner proceeded smoothly. The bride cried happy tears. The groom looked appropriately nervous. The mother settled down after 3 glasses of wine. By 10 o'clock, Juliana was exhausted. She supervised the cleanup crew, checked the schedule for tomorrow, and headed for the elevator. The building was quieter at night. Most of the staff had left. Only security remained, along with whatever mysterious activities happened on the private floors she'd never accessed. Until now. She looked at the keycard in her hand. The smart thing was to give it back, maintain boundaries, keep things professional. The elevator arrived. She stepped inside, swiped the card, pressed the button for the top floor before she could reconsider. The doors opened onto a different world. Where the club below was elegant and public, this was intimate, expensive. The hallway was lined with dark wood and soft lighting, art that belonged in museums, silence so complete she could hear her own heartbeat. Dante's office was at the end of the hall. The door was closed but not locked. Juliana pushed it open. The office was empty, but evidence of him was everywhere. A suit jacket draped over the chair. Papers scattered across the desk. The scent of cedar and something darker that she'd come to associate with him. She shouldn't be here. This was crossing a line. Looking for something? She spun. Dante stood in the doorway, still in his suit, but with his tie loosened and sleeves rolled up. He looked tired. Dangerous. Exactly like the kind of man her grandmother had warned her about. I was just... She held up the key card. Vincent gave me this. I wanted to see what access it provided. Liar. He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. You wanted to see my space. Understand me better. You're curious despite yourself. You're very sure of yourself. I'm sure of what I see. He moved closer, each step deliberate. You've been thinking about me, about what I said. You want to say yes, but you're scared. I'm not scared. Then what are you? Juliana met his eyes. Cautious. You're not a normal man, Dante. Vincent said so himself. You have power and connections, and you're used to getting what you want. I'm not interested in being another acquisition. You think that's what this is? He stopped directly in front of her, close enough to touch, but not touching. An acquisition, isn't it? No. His hand came up, fingers brushing her jaw. An acquisition is something you buy, something you own. I don't want to own you, Juliana. I want you to choose me. Knowing exactly who I am and what I do. Choosing anyway. I don't know who you are. Not really. Then ask. He dropped his hand, stepped back. Ask me anything. I'll tell you the truth. She should leave, walk away. Instead, she asked the question that had been haunting her for days. Why me? You could have anyone. Women who understand your world, who wouldn't ask questions or need explanations. Because you're real, simple, direct. You don't perform. You don't pretend. When you told Brett Cunningham off, you meant every word. When you fixed the dessert situation, you did it because it mattered, not because I was watching. You're competent and smart, and you have a smart mouth that makes me want to kiss you until you forget how to argue. Heat flooded through her. That's incredibly arrogant. Yes, he smiled. But you like it. You like that I'm direct. That I don't play games or pretend to be something I'm not. You're a criminal. I'm a businessman in a complicated industry. He didn't flinch from the accusation. I protect my family. I keep my word. I don't hurt innocent people. But yes, some of what I do exists in gray areas. If that's a problem, tell me now. Juliana studied him. Really looked. past the expensive suit and dangerous eyes to the man underneath, the one who kept family photos on his desk and commissioned tortes for his mother's dietary restrictions. My grandmother always said the Catalano family took care of the neighborhood. When her landlord tried to evict her, someone had a conversation with him. The eviction notice disappeared. I remember. Dante's expression softened. Mrs. Rossi on Mulberry Street. She makes the best cannoli in Manhattan. She also has a granddaughter who visits every Sunday and brings flowers. You knew who I was before I started working here. I knew of you. I didn't know you. He moved closer again. Now I do. And I want more. Dinner tomorrow. Somewhere we can talk without interruptions. Say yes. This is a terrible idea. Probably. His thumb brushed her lower lip. Say yes anyway. She should say no, should maintain boundaries, should protect herself from whatever this was becoming. One dinner, just talking. Just talking, he agreed, but his eyes promised more. I'll pick you up at 7. I'll meet you there. I'm not giving you my address. I already have your address. At her look, he smiled. But I respect the boundary. I'll text you the restaurant. Wear something comfortable. No performance necessary. He stepped back, giving her space. Juliana moved toward the door, her pulse racing. Juliana. She turned. He was watching her with that same predatory focus. Thank you for saying yes. I'm probably going to regret this. No. His smile turned dangerous. You're not. She left before she could do something stupid like kiss him. The elevator ride down felt longer. Her reflection in the polished doors showed flushed cheeks and bright eyes. The look of a woman who just made a decision that would change everything. Her phone buzzed as she reached the lobby. Dante. Sleep well, Bella. Dream of me. She should ignore it, should maintain professional distance. Juliana. Arrogance is still not attractive. Dante. Liar. You're smiling right now. She was. She absolutely was. And that was the most dangerous thing of all. The restaurant was intimate. Too intimate. Candlelight and exposed brick and tables positioned far enough apart that conversations remained private. The kind of place where marriage proposals happened and secrets were shared. Juliana arrived exactly on time, wearing a simple black dress that felt simultaneously too formal and not formal enough. Dante was already there, standing when she approached. Still in a suit, but different than his work uniform. Softer. Navy instead of charcoal. You came, he said. I said I would. She let him pull out her chair. I keep my word. I know. He settled across from her, and even with the table between them, she felt the weight of his attention. It's one of the things I'm counting on. A server appeared with wine. Dante had already ordered, something red and probably expensive. Juliana took a sip and tried to remember why this was supposed to be just talking. Tell me about Cornell, Dante said. Why hospitality management? My grandmother. She relaxed slightly. Safe topic. She worked in restaurants her whole life, started as a dishwasher, worked her way up to manager. She said the secret to life was making people feel welcome. I wanted to do that professionally. And the club. Why work for me specifically? The reputation. Catalanos is the best in the city. I wanted to learn from the best. She met his eyes. I didn't know you'd be quite so hands-on. I'm invested in quality. His smile was dangerous. In all areas. The server returned with appetizers, burrata and heirloom tomatoes, fresh bread. Dante pushed the plate toward her. Eat. You barely touched lunch. How would you know what I ate for lunch? Vincent mentioned you were handling the Cunningham situation. You always skip lunch when you're dealing with difficult clients. She should be bothered by how much he noticed. Instead, she felt seen. The Cunningham situation is resolved. Brett won't be returning. Good. No elaboration, just simple satisfaction. What else should I know about you? That's a broad question. We have time. He leaned back, wine glass in hand. I want to know everything. What you read, what you think about at 3 a.m. What makes you laugh? That's more than one dinner's worth of information. Then we'll have more dinners. Like it was already decided. Start with something easy. Favorite book? Pride and Prejudice. Of course it is. His smile widened. You like the verbal sparring. Elizabeth challenges Darcy, makes him work for it. Are you comparing yourself to Mr. Darcy? I'm richer, better looking, more direct about my intentions. He paused. Though I suppose we both have the brooding thing down. Despite herself, Juliana laughed. That's incredibly arrogant. You keep saying that. I keep being right. He set down his glass. Your turn. Ask me something. She had 1,000 questions, most of them dangerous. Why did you really take over the club? Vincent said your father wanted you to, but that's not the whole story. Dante was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was different, more real. My father built this place as a legitimate front, something clean the family could point to. But he never loved it, not like he loved the rest of the business. He traced the rim of his glass. I wanted something that was mine, something I could be proud of without qualification. The club is that. And the rest, the family business, still there, still necessary, but separate. He met her eyes. I won't lie to you, Juliana. My family has complicated interests, but the club is clean. What you see there is legitimate. That's a careful distinction. It's an honest one. He leaned forward. I'm trying to be honest with you, about all of it. The server brought entrees, pasta for her, steak for him. They ate and talked, about her grandmother's neighborhood, about his mother's insistence on Sunday dinners, about books and music and the small things that made up a life. It was easy. Too easy. Juliana found herself laughing at his stories about his younger sister's disastrous attempts at cooking. Found herself sharing memories of her own childhood. The walls she'd carefully maintained started crumbling. You're good at this, she said finally. At what? Making me forget why this is a bad idea. Maybe it's not a bad idea. He signaled for the check. Maybe you're just scared of what happens if it's a good one. Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. Then again. His expression shifted, became harder. I have to take this. He stood, already moving toward the entrance. 2 minutes. Juliana watched him through the window. Saw his posture change. Saw him make another call, his free hand gesturing sharply. Whatever was happening, it wasn't good. He returned 5 minutes later. We need to leave. What's wrong? Family situation. Nothing dangerous, but I need to handle it. He helped her with her coat. I'll get you a car. I can get my own car. Juliana. He turned her to face him. Let me do this, please. The please did it. She nodded. His hand settled on her lower back as they walked outside. The valet was already pulling up a black SUV, not a car service. Something personal. Dante, get in. Vincent is driving. He'll take you home. He opened the door, but didn't release her. I'm sorry. This isn't how I wanted tonight to end. It's fine. Family comes first. Something in his expression gentled. Yes, it does. He leaned closer, and for a moment she thought he might kiss her. Instead, his lips brushed her temple. I'll call you tomorrow. Then he was gone, climbing into another vehicle that appeared from nowhere. Juliana slid into the SUV, her skin still warm where he'd touched her. Vincent pulled into traffic. Mr. Catalano asked me to apologize for the abrupt ending. What happened? Family matter. His sister. Vincent's tone suggested that was all she'd get. They drove in silence for several blocks. Then Vincent spoke again. He's different with you. Different how? Careful. Considerate. A pause. He doesn't usually do careful. Juliana processed that. Is that good or bad? Depends on what you want. Vincent glanced at her in the rearview mirror. He's serious about you, in case that wasn't clear. It's becoming clear. And I'm still deciding if that's terrifying or exciting. Vincent's expression might have been approval. Fair enough. He dropped her at her apartment building, waited until she was inside before driving away. Juliana climbed the stairs to her third-floor walk-up, her mind replaying every moment of the evening. Her phone buzzed as she unlocked her door. Dante. Sister drama resolved. She's fine. I'm not. Call me if you're still awake. Juliana looked at the time. Nearly 11. She should go to bed, should maintain boundaries. She called. He answered on the first ring. You're awake. You said to call if I was. I did. She heard movement, a door closing. I'm sorry about tonight. That's not how I planned it. What happened? Vincent said your sister. Isabella. She's 22 and thinks she's invincible. Got involved with someone she shouldn't have. I had to extract her from a situation. Frustration bled through his voice. She's safe. Pissed at me, but safe. You're a good brother. I'm an overbearing brother, according to her. Frequently and loudly. He exhaled. But she's my responsibility. Our father died 2 years ago. Someone has to keep her from doing something stupid. Juliana settled on her couch. Is that why you understand boundaries? Because you have to enforce them with her? Partly. Also because I watched my father bulldoze my mother's wishes for 30 years. She loved him, but she never got to choose. Not really. His voice dropped. I don't want that. I want you to choose me because you want to, not because I pressured you. You sent me flowers, coffee. You're very persistent. I'm showing interest. There's a difference between persistence and pressure. A pause. If you want me to stop, say so. I will. She should want him to stop, should protect herself from whatever this was becoming. I don't want you to stop. The silence on the other end was charged. When he spoke, his voice was rougher. Say that again. I don't want you to stop. The flowers, the attention, whatever this is. She closed her eyes. I'm terrified, but I don't want you to stop. Juliana. The way he said her name felt like a caress. I'm coming over. What? No, it's late. I don't care. You just told me you want this. I need to see you. Dante, that's not... I'm not coming over to seduce you. I'm coming over because I've been thinking about you all night, and you just said you don't want me to stop, and I need to see your face when you say it again. She heard keys. Movement. Give me your address. You said you already had it. I do. But I want you to give it to me. I want you to invite me in. Her heart was racing. This was crossing a line, moving from dinner and conversation to something more immediate, more real. She gave him the address. 20 minutes later, her buzzer rang. She let him up, stood in her doorway watching him climb the stairs, still in his suit, hair slightly disheveled, eyes locked on her with that same predatory focus. He stopped directly in front of her, close enough to touch but not touching. Say it again, he said. I don't want you to stop. His hand came up, cupping her face. You're sure? No, but I'm saying yes anyway. Good enough. Then he was kissing her. Not gentle, not testing. Dante kissed like he did everything else, completely. His hand slid into her hair, angling her head. His body pressed hers back against the doorframe. The kiss was demanding and possessive, and everything she'd been trying not to want. Juliana gripped his shoulders, kissing him back just as fiercely. Months of tension and denial and careful distance evaporated. This was real. This was happening. He pulled back, breathing hard. Inside. Now. She stepped backward into her apartment. He followed, kicking the door shut behind him. Then his mouth was on hers again, walking her backward until her legs hit the couch. Dante, tell me to stop. His lips moved to her neck. Tell me this isn't what you want. She couldn't, because it was exactly what she wanted, had been wanting since the night he'd first looked at her like she was something precious and dangerous. Don't stop. He lifted her easily, settling her on the couch with him above her. His weight was solid and warm. His hands were everywhere, her waist, her thigh, sliding under the hem of her dress. You're mine, he said against her mouth. Say it. That's presumptuous. Say it anyway. His hand gripped her hip. I need to hear it. Yours. The word came out breathless. I'm yours. Something in his expression turned fierce. Triumphant. Finally. He kissed her again, slower this time but no less intense. Juliana lost track of time. Lost track of everything except the feel of him. The taste of him. The way he touched her like she was something he'd been waiting for. When he finally pulled back, they were both breathing hard. Her dress was twisted. His shirt was half unbuttoned. The careful distance they'd maintained for months was completely destroyed. I should go, he said, but he didn't move. You should. If I stay, I'm not leaving until morning. Her pulse jumped. That's very presumptuous. That's very honest. He traced her jaw. Tell me to go, Juliana, while I still can. She should maintain some boundary. Instead, she pulled him back down. Stay. His smile was dangerous and satisfied. Yes, ma'am. He stood, lifting her with him. Bedroom? She pointed. He carried her down the short hallway, his mouth never leaving hers. The bedroom was small, just a bed and dresser, but he didn't seem to care about the space. He set her down carefully, stepped back. We're doing this right, he said. No rushing. No regrets tomorrow. I thought you said you weren't leaving until morning. I'm not. But we're going to talk first. He shrugged off his jacket, rolled up his sleeves. Sit. She sat on the edge of the bed. He pulled her desk chair over, sitting directly in front of her, close enough to touch, but not touching. What are you afraid of? He asked. That's a hell of a question right now. Answer it anyway. Juliana looked at him. Really looked. Past the dangerous exterior to whatever this was between them. That I'm just another acquisition. That 6 months from now, you'll be bored, and I'll be in too deep to protect myself. Not going to happen. You can't promise that. Yes, I can. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I don't get bored, Juliana. I get obsessed. I find something I want, and I commit completely. That's what this is. Obsession. Commitment. You're not a phase. You're not temporary. You're mine, and I take care of what's mine. That's intense. I'm an intense person. You knew that going in. His eyes held hers. If you can't handle that, tell me now, before this goes further. She should be scared, should run. Instead, she felt something settle into place. I can handle it. You're sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. His smile was slow and devastating. That's my girl. Then he was kissing her again, and talking was over. His hands were reverent and demanding. He touched her like he'd been memorizing her for months, and was finally allowed to confirm his theories. Like she was precious, and his, and exactly what he'd been waiting for. Clothes disappeared. His shirt, her dress. The careful barriers between them evaporated with each kiss, each touch. "Look at me," he said, his hand on her jaw. "I want to see your eyes." She met his gaze, saw desire and possession, and something deeper that made her chest tight. "Mine," he said again. "Say it." "Yours." "Good." His mouth moved to her neck, her collarbone. "Lower. Don't forget it." She wouldn't, couldn't, not with the way he was touching her, not with the way he said her name like a prayer and a claim. The rest of the night blurred into sensation. His hands, his mouth, the way he whispered Italian against her skin, the way he made her feel wanted and precious and completely his. When they finally collapsed together, tangled and breathless, Juliana felt fundamentally changed, like something had shifted that couldn't be shifted back. Dante pulled her against his chest, his hand stroking her hair. "Sleep," he murmured. "I've got you." She did. Fell asleep feeling safe and claimed and terrified of how much she wanted this to be real. When she woke, pale morning light filtered through her curtains. Dante was still there, still holding her. His eyes were open, watching her with that same intense focus. "Morning," he said. "You stayed." "I said I would." His hand traced patterns on her bare shoulder. "I keep my word." She could feel evidence of the night before. Soreness. The pleasant ache of muscles used in new ways. And when she shifted, she saw marks. Dark bruises on her collarbone, her hip, places his mouth had been. "You marked me," she said. "Yes." "No apology. I told you. You're mine. Now everyone will know it." That's possessive. That's honest. He traced one of the marks with his thumb. "You have a problem with it?" She should be bothered by the visible evidence of his claim. Instead, she felt something warm settle in her chest. "No," she admitted. "I don't." His smile was pure satisfaction. "Good, because I'm not done." He kissed her again, morning breath and tangled sheets and the promise of more. Juliana kissed him back, accepting what she'd been fighting for months. She was his, completely, irrevocably, and the terrifying part was how much she wanted to be. The next 2 weeks existed in a haze of stolen moments and carefully maintained professionalism. At the club, Juliana remained Ms. Torres, efficient and untouchable. In private, she was simply his. The marks faded from her skin, but the claim remained. Dante was surprisingly patient about the boundaries she set. No public displays at work, no favoritism that the staff could point to. He followed her rules with the same intensity he applied to everything else, but the flowers kept coming. The coffee appeared on her desk every morning, and twice a week he took her to dinner, learning her preferences and filing away every detail like it mattered. It did matter. That was the terrifying part. "You're glowing," Sarah said one afternoon, catching Juliana reviewing inventory. "Please tell me you're finally sleeping with the boss." "That's inappropriate workplace conversation." "That's a yes." Sarah grinned. "About time. The sexual tension was getting exhausting for the rest of us." Juliana tried to maintain her professional expression. Failed. "It's complicated." "Honey, it's only complicated if you make it complicated. He's obsessed with you, has been for months. Just enjoy it." "I'm trying." She closed her laptop. "I'm having dinner with his family Sunday." "Oh, that's serious. That's terrifying." Juliana had been trying not to think about it. Meeting his mother. His sister. Being evaluated as the woman Dante Catalano brought home. "What if they hate me?" "They won't. You're competent, intelligent, and you make him smile. His mother will love you." Sarah paused. "Just don't mention the hickeys." There are no hickeys. There were definitely hickeys last week. High-collared blouses aren't subtle, boss. Juliana felt her face heat. I'm ending this conversation. You're confirming everything. Sarah's smile was knowing. Good for you. He seems like he'd be intense in bed. Sarah. Fine, I'll stop. She didn't stop. But seriously, don't overthink Sunday. Just be yourself. They'll see what he sees. Juliana wished she knew what that was. What Dante saw when he looked at her that made him so certain, so committed. That night, he picked her up at 8. Not Vincent driving. Dante himself, in dark jeans and a sweater that made him look younger, less dangerous. You're nervous, he said as she slid into the passenger seat. I'm meeting your family. That's nerve-inducing. They'll love you. He pulled into traffic with easy confidence. My mother's been asking about you for weeks. Isabella's curious. Everyone else will follow their lead. What have you told them about me? The truth. That you're brilliant and stubborn and you make me work for every inch of ground. He glanced at her. That I'm serious about you. Her stomach flipped. How serious? Very. No hesitation. I told you, I don't do temporary. This is permanent, Juliana. You need to know that going in. We've been together 2 weeks. I've wanted you for 8 months. The timeline doesn't change what this is. He reached over, lacing his fingers through hers. I know it's fast. I know it's intense. But I also know what I want. And I want you. Permanently. She should be scared. Should pump the brakes. Instead, she squeezed his hand. Okay? Just okay? I'm still processing. Give me time. You can have all the time you need, as long as you're processing while being mine. His thumb stroked her palm. Deal? Deal. The Catalano family home was in Westchester. Old money and older trees. The kind of estate that spoke of generations and tradition. Juliana's nerves ratcheted higher as they pulled through the gates. Breathe, Dante said. It's just dinner. With your entire family evaluating whether I'm good enough for you. They already know you're too good for me. This is just confirming details. He parked and came around to open her door. Stay close. I'll handle the overwhelming parts. The front door opened before they reached it. A woman in her late 50s stood there, elegant and sharp-eyed. Dante's mother. Had to be. Mama, Dante said, kissing her cheek. This is Juliana Torres. Juliana, my mother, Carmela Catalano. Ms. Torres. Carmela's assessment was thorough and immediate. Finally, Dante speaks of nothing else. That's an exaggeration, Mama. It's not. She stepped aside, gesturing them in. Come, everyone's waiting. The house was warm and lived in despite its size. Family photos lined the hallway. The sound of voices and laughter came from deeper inside. Dante's hand settled on her lower back. Possessive. Grounding. The dining room held chaos, a long table surrounded by people. Juliana counted at least 10 before losing track. Dante made introductions rapid fire. His sister Isabella, 22 and beautiful. His uncle Marco. Cousins whose names blurred together. Vincent was there too, grinning at her obvious overwhelm. Sit, sit. Carmela directed them to seats near the head of the table. Dante pulled out Juliana's chair, then settled beside her close enough that their thighs touched. The meal was loud and overlapping. Multiple conversations happening simultaneously. Food passed family style, wine flowing freely. It was overwhelming and wonderful, and nothing like Juliana's quiet childhood dinners. So you managed Dante's club, Carmela said during a brief lull. That must be challenging. It has its moments. Juliana accepted more pasta from Isabella. But I enjoy the work. The club has excellent bones. Good staff. Clear vision. Dante's vision, you mean? Partly. But a vision only works if the execution is solid. That's where I come in. Carmela's smile was approving. You don't defer to him. Should I? No. He needs someone who pushes back. She glanced at her son. He's too used to getting his way. I'm right here, Mama. I know. I'm talking about you, not to you. There's a difference. She turned back to Juliana. He's been different since you started. Lighter. More present. Mama, hush. I'm complimenting your girlfriend. Let me finish. Carmela's expression gentled. You make him happy. That matters to me. Juliana felt something tight in her chest ease. He makes me happy too. Good. Carmela patted her hand. Then we'll get along fine. The rest of dinner passed in a blur of stories and laughter. Isabella shared embarrassing tales from Dante's childhood. Uncle Marco argued politics. The cousins debated soccer. Dante's hand stayed on Juliana's thigh under the table, a constant warm presence. After dinner, Isabella cornered her in the hallway. You're good for him. Everyone keeps saying that. Because it's true. He's been insufferable for months, moody and distracted. Then you finally said yes, and suddenly he's almost bearable again. Isabella's smile was sly. Plus, those marks on your neck last week? Very subtle. Juliana's hand flew to her collarbone. The marks were long gone, but the memory made her flush. That's exactly what he needed to do. Dante doesn't do subtle. He's possessive and intense and kind of overwhelming. But he's loyal. Once you're his forever. Isabella's expression turned serious. Just don't hurt him. He acts tough, but he feels everything deeply. Especially about you. I won't. Hurt him, I mean. Good, because I like you. And I'd hate to have to kill you. Isabella's smile returned. Now come on. Mama's bringing out dessert, and if we don't get there fast, the cousins will eat everything. The drive back to the city was quiet, comfortable. Dante's hand rested on her thigh while he drove. That wasn't so bad, Juliana said finally. I told you they'd love you. Your mother's terrifying. She's a sweetheart compared to my grandmother. Be glad Nona's in Italy right now. He glanced at her. You okay? I know it was a lot. I'm good. They're wonderful. Loud, but wonderful. She covered his hand with hers. Thank you for bringing me. Thank you for coming. It means something. To them. To me. He pulled up in front of her building but didn't release her. Come home with me tonight. I have work tomorrow. So do I. We'll go in together. His thumb stroked her thigh. I want you in my bed, Juliana. Want to wake up with you. Want more than stolen hours. Her heart was racing. That's a big step. We've already taken big steps. This is just the next one. He cupped her face. Say yes. She should think about it. Should maintain some independence. Instead, she heard herself say, yes. His smile was devastating. Good. Let's go. His penthouse was all clean lines and expensive taste. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Minimalist furniture that somehow felt warm. Lived in. Wine? He offered. Sure. He poured 2 glasses, then settled beside her on the couch, close enough to touch but not crowding. What are you thinking? That this is moving fast. That I should be more careful. She met his eyes. That I don't want to be careful anymore. Then don't. He set down his glass. Be reckless with me. Be certain. Be mine. I am yours. You know that. Say it again anyway. I like hearing it. I'm yours, Dante. She set down her own glass. Completely. Something fierce crossed his expression. Come here. She moved into his lap, straddling him. His hands gripped her hips, holding her steady. You have no idea what you do to me, he said against her mouth. How long I've wanted this. Wanted you. Show me. He did. Kissed her until she was breathless and desperate. His hands were everywhere, relearning curves and angles. When he stood, lifting her with him, she wrapped her legs around his waist. Bedroom, he said. Now. The bedroom was as minimalist as the rest of the apartment. Just a massive bed and dark furniture. He set her down carefully, then stepped back. Strip, he said, slowly. She should protest the command. Instead, she obeyed. Removed her dress slowly, watching his eyes darken with each inch of revealed skin. When she stood in just her underwear, he made a rough sound. Everything. She removed the rest, stood before him completely bare and somehow not vulnerable. Not with the way he looked at her, like she was everything he'd been waiting for. My turn, she said. His smile was dangerous. Go ahead. She moved closer, unbuttoning his shirt with shaking fingers. Pushed it off his shoulders. Her hands traced the planes of his chest, the muscles of his abdomen. When she reached his belt, he caught her wrists. Bed. Now. She climbed onto the bed. He finished undressing himself, then followed. His weight settled over her, solid and warm and right. Last chance, he said. Tell me to stop. Don't stop. Don't ever stop. He kissed her deeply, his hands everywhere, reverent and possessive, claiming and worshipping simultaneously. When he finally moved inside her, Juliana felt something fundamental shift, like pieces clicking into place. Mine, he said against her mouth. Say it. Yours, always yours. The rest of the night blurred into sensation and connection. His hands, his mouth, the way he said her name like a prayer, the way he touched her like she was precious and his and exactly what he needed. When they finally collapsed together, tangled and breathless, he pulled her against his chest. Stay, he murmured. Not just tonight. Stay. I'm here. No, I mean stay. Move in. Be here every night. His hand stroked her hair. I want this permanent, Juliana. Want you permanent. She should think about it. Should consider the implications. Instead, she felt certainty settle into her bones. Okay? Just okay? Yes, I'll move in. I'll stay. I'll be yours. She lifted her head to meet his eyes. Permanently. His smile was pure satisfaction and joy. That's my girl. He kissed her again, sealing the promise. Juliana kissed him back, accepting what she'd been fighting for months. This was real. This was permanent. This was hers. When she woke the next morning, sunlight streamed through unfamiliar windows. Dante was already awake, propped on one elbow watching her. Morning, he said. You're staring. I'm appreciating. His hand traced her bare shoulder, then lower to the marks blooming on her collarbone, her ribs. You're covered in me. She looked down. Dark bruises everywhere his mouth had been, visible proof of his claim. People will see. Good. Let them. His smile was smug and possessive. Everyone should know you're mine. She should be bothered. Instead, she felt warm. Claimed. His. We have work, she said. We do. He didn't move. But first, breakfast, then a shower. Then I'm taking you to work, and everyone's going to know exactly what we did last night. That's presumptuous. That's accurate. He kissed her thoroughly. Get used to it, Bella. This is your life now. 3 months later, Juliana stood in the same penthouse, now filled with her belongings mixed with his. Her books on his shelves, her coffee maker in his kitchen. Her life tangled completely with his. Sunday dinner at the Catalano house had become routine. Carmela's acceptance complete. Isabella treating her like the sister she'd never had. Even Uncle Marco had stopped testing her with pointed questions about family and loyalty. She was one of them now. Completely. Irrevocably. "You're thinking too hard," Dante said, coming up behind her. His arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her back against his chest. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. That's what's strange." She turned in his arms. "I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop." "No other shoe. Just this. Us. Forever." He kissed her forehead. "You're stuck with me, Bella. Better get used to it." "I am used to it. That's the terrifying part." "Good terrifying or bad terrifying?" "Good. Definitely good." She wrapped her arms around his neck. "I love you." She'd said it before, but it still made his expression soften, made him hold her tighter. "I love you too. More than I thought I could love anything." He pulled back slightly, his hand going to his pocket. "Which brings me to something I've been meaning to ask." Her heart stopped. "Dante? Not yet. Soon, but not yet." He pulled out a key instead. "But I want you to have this. Full access. To everything. The club. The house in Westchester. Everything that's mine is yours." She took the key, feeling its weight. "That's a lot of trust. You're worth trusting. You've proven that every day for months." His hand cupped her face. "You chose me, Juliana. Chose this life. Chose us. That means everything. I'd choose you again. Every time. Good. Because I'm never letting you go." He kissed her deeply, possessively. "You're mine. Forever." "Forever," she agreed. "I'm yours forever." And standing there in their home, wrapped in his arms, Juliana finally believed it. This was real. This was permanent. This was hers. She'd chosen the dangerous man, the possessive boss, the intensity that should have scared her away. And she'd choose him again, every single time. If you enjoyed Dante and Juliana's story, subscribe to Mafia Tales for more dangerous romances where powerful men meet their match. Join our members area for exclusive extended scenes and early access to new stories.